Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is start cleaning out all this coolant. So I got this here QD electronics cleaner. I'm kind of getting low on it. I might have to go buy another one. So I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow. So we're gonna start by, I guess, cleaning this lid. Actually, I can just clean this with the water hose. That's fine. Save the electronics play. Yeah, so we'll get the water hose and I'll just shoot that with water, and then I'll kind of dry it a little bit with some compressed air. So what we're going to do first is spray this stuff on here. Okay, and particularly around here, everything underneath the cover, spray it, this stuff to get the coolant out. Okay, this stuff dries pretty fast too, so. I'll start to take stuff out and clean it. Probably clean around this housing too. Okay. Hopefully when I sprayed that, it got the coolant out and it's dripping down there or something. So. Okay. All right. So. I'll just kind of let that dry a little bit, and then I'll go clean this in the meantime. All right, and then we'll start taking these lugs out and then cleaning them too with like a wire brush. So I don't like looking at that. All right, let's see. Okay, I've gone ahead and sprayed as much as I could in there. Try to get all the coolant out, and then I shot this. It looks like it's wet again, but I just shot it with water, so I tried to get all that coolant out of there. Okay, and then I'm gonna go get my. Okay. So I got here Mr. Handy Dandy wrench or socket, and I found out that these lugs here are 13 millimeters, so odd size. Okay, so that'll come off like that. Basically, it's like a square block is what it is. There's a block here, and then there's another set of wires bolted to the top of the block right here. So basically, it's like a it's like a junction type thing. So instead of having the wires go all the way through, it connects here and then it connects over here on the top somewhere. And you cannot access the top of this because the frame's in the way. You'd have to drop the whole motor out. It's kind of suck, man. Hopefully we can fix this without having to take the motor out, because I don't want to take it out. Yeah, so yeah, we'll start taking these out, and then I'm going to clean it with a wire brush, something like this, or just like a hand. It's kind of like a toothbrush. Let's see. Yeah, right here. Okay. I can probably clean it while it's on there, but I think it's better just take them off one by one and clean everything. Okay. I'm surprised the bike hasn't been. The bike has been running pretty good. It hasn't. I haven't really noticed anything different with the way it runs. Other than the display cluster is all gone haywire and stuff, and it's leaking coolant. So that's a good thing. This hasn't really affected the way the bike runs at all yet. All right. Okay, I got one of the bolts out. I was able to take this little thingy out, so I can kind of work a little bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this. Fortunately, the bolt where the threads are in good shape. It's just the head is like really rusty, so we'll go ahead and get the wire brush on that guy and make it all pretty again. I've got this wire brush here, so we can kind of clean the encoder. I should probably use brass, so I think it's made out of aluminum. Hopefully we don't damage it. So that kind of thing. I mean, I guess we could clean the bolt heads like this too. It's probably better to just take them out. See, you can. It's corroded so much that you couldn't even read. I think that says 8.8. I think it's an 8.8 grade bolt. This one you can't even read it. There's so much corrosion on it. So bad, dude. I'm probably gonna get a napkin and wipe all this stuff off too. I don't think it took that coolant off. We'll have to actually wipe it off, I guess. But yeah, as I'm cleaning it with this, I'll try to get the dust particles off with this guy right here. I've already sprayed this, so hopefully this dries up. All right, it's pretty warm day today, so I think everything should dry out pretty quick. All right, here's me out. All right, here's me here. We're in the middle of cleaning this. So my idea using a contact cleaner, it doesn't work. There's still like a residue, a coolant residue. I think it gets the water out. I mean, I don't think there's any water in there. I think the water is probably all like evaporated already, and all that's left is the residue from the coolant. Because you know, like half of the coolant is water and half the coolant is ethylene glycol. So I think it's like ethylene glycol is what's left in there. I think Hazy Mega thinks it's leaking from where the wires go into this cover here, the jacket cover, because there's water in there. I think there's water. There's water in here because I could see a lot. There's a lot of like kind of that dry coolant residue inside here. So I think that's where it's leaking from. Now this does have a gasket, this plastic cover here that goes around here. I can see a gasket right here. So you can see it's like peeking out there. It's a rubber gasket. I don't think that holds coolant in. At least I don't think it does. I think all that does is it seals the back of this cover, and then this gasket here, it seals the top of the cover. So those are two gaskets right there. I don't think it's leaking from the encoder. I'm not sure. It could be. What I'm thinking is it's leaking from in here, because this is like the highest point, and there's lots of coolant in there if I stick my finger in there. Yeah, I'm getting this coolant coming out of it. There's a lot of coolant in there, so I think that, and like in that orifice there's a gasket or something, and then like it's not sealing. Yeah, so I don't know, dude. I think it's leaking from back there. I think it's going up there, and then it's like it's dribbling down this way. Cause see, the cutout is lower on this side, so I think it's leaking somewhere in there, and then it's pulling up, and then there's a lot of buildup right here, and then it dribbles down this way, and then it gets caught down here, and then this is where it leaks. It leaks onto where the shifter is, kinda. So I don't know what to say, man. I don't know if I should really get in there, you know. I may need to take this to someone that knows what they're doing. Go ahead to say it. I don't want to like. What we could do is we could try to run it. What we could do is try to jump the coolant, the water pump. There's a way you can manually activate the water pump on this, and we can just hook it up and run it, and then see if any of the water comes out anywhere in the thing. It'll run the pump and it'll circulate the water through the jacket, and then maybe it'll start coming out. But that should be full of water right now, so I don't really know where it's leaking, man. But yeah, like I said, what we'll have to do for now is clean it up as best as we can, and then let's see where it's leaking from. But it's harder to clean the coolant out than I thought. The best way is to just rinse it with water, is what I found out. I was able to do that with the cover and that yellow warning sticker thing, or warning tag. I was able to wash it off with water. The coolant comes right off. So I don't know what to do, man. I also thought about taking this plastic cover off. There is a gasket over there, but you can take it off, all these screws here, and then this will come off. Unfortunately, you won't be able to get it out because the encoder's there, and we don't want to touch that encoder, like I mentioned. That's a no-go, unless you could absolutely put it back in the right position. I don't know. I don't want to risk bricking my bike. But yeah, see, it still looks wet. See, this coolant doesn't evaporate. So yeah, look at this. This is horrible. It's still wet. It's still wet, and that feels like it's coolant. There's just a lot of coolant in there. Look at that. I'm like squeezing the water out of this thing here, and the thing is, it's coolant. It doesn't evaporate like water does. That's definitely coolant, because I feel it feels a little slippery, kind of a little oily, you know. That's what, and it looks. See how my hands all shiny and stuff. That's coolant. Stuff is kind of nasty. I don't know what to do, man. the spray didn't work. It doesn't take the coolant out. But there's really no other kind of spray that you should be spraying in there besides that, you know. That's made for electronics. Alright, anyway, we'll just continue trying to clean it up, man. I may have to take this to somebody. I don't think I can do this. And then, like, whoever you take it to, they have to have the software to, you know, to resync it and all that stuff. So, what we can do is, I will run it without the cover, and then we'll see if it runs, and then we'll see if it leaks any coolant anywhere. And then the next thing we could do is maybe the next time I get in here, we'll take this cover off here. I think you have to take the seat off, and you have to take this gas tank cover type thing off. And then in the fuse box is a relay where you can jump the connections, and it'll manually operate. You can manually operate the water pump, and then we can see where it's leaking from. I'd imagine if you were to circulate the water through the cooling system, it might start leaking out somewhere. So, okay. Alright, here's we go. Alright, hey, he's Mick here. So, it's been a couple hours. I've been kind of doing stuff on and off. So, so I've got it looking a hell of a lot better than it did before. So, I found out to get the coolant out, the best way is to just flush it out with water. That's the best way to do it. So I used this spray bottle here, and I kind of sprayed it a little bit, and then I wiped it with napkins and stuff. I feel that it's probably dried enough. I might hit it again with the air hose one more time. I'm sure there's probably still some coolant residue in there. I think ultimately the best way to get rid of all that water in there is to take this plastic, the backing for the plastic cover, and unbolt it and take it off. But you can't do it. You can't take it all the way off without having to take this encoder out. Now I was looking at the encoder, and I think you can take it out without having to. And you can put it back the same way. Basically, I think what you do is you just take this 2 bolts out, and it comes out, and then you just gotta see this plastic thing with teeth on it. You just gotta make sure you put it back where you found it. So you put this plastic thing back here, you know. I don't know. I'm not 100% on that, so I still don't want to mess around with it. Yeah. So okay. So yeah. I still feel it's kind of wet around here, but I tried my best. The bolts look hell of a lot better than they did before, right? One of them's here's one of them's still off. So so we'll go. I'll go kind of connect everything. I'll shoot it with air one more time. I think I'm pretty much done with it. All that coolant that was pooling down here is all gone now. I might wipe it one more time with the Q-tip. But yeah, it looks a lot better than it did before. Unfortunately, it's probably going to get filled up with coolant again. So, so we'll go put these guys back in, and then hook that thermistor back up, and then we'll leave the cover off, and I'll fire the bike up, and we'll see if it'll run and stuff. So, as long I know the freaking the tag said like don't do that, but as long as you don't touch it, I'm sure you'll be fine. This is where your foot is normally, so that's probably why they put this cover here. So your foot will touch the cover and not the wires. So, okay, so yeah, but yeah, those are your 3 wire leads for the motor, your 3 phases, and yeah. So I have a feeling it is leaking from in here, but it hasn't been leaking right now. So I think it's only leaks when water's running through it. So it seems like the leak is not too bad yet. So we'll see. Let's see if this bad boy runs properly. I don't know where this moisture sensor is. There's something. The system fault B9 means like there's moisture somewhere, and I don't know how it's detecting that. You know, that's a good question. It's like, where's the sensor for that? That's what I'd like to know. But anyway, yeah. But that might not be related to this. I'm not sure, but you know, it's somewhere that's getting wet, so I'm thinking that it is. So, all right. So I tried my best to dry out all this stuff. The water gets kind of trapped in this little jacket thing, and yeah, so it's pretty dry now though. Alternatively, I think the better thing to do would have been, I have a steam cleaner, so I could have used a steam cleaner to clean all this, clean all the coolant out. The good thing about the steam cleaner is like it's hot, you know, and it'll get the coolant off right away, and then like it'll probably drip down here, and then the steam, it's hot, you know, so it'll dry real quick too. So like the chances of it corroding again, not likely. So because it'll just dry up right away. Okay, so I'm gonna go put everything back in. I feel like everything's nice and clean already, and then hook that wire back up, and then we'll fire the bike up and see if it leaks anywhere, or see if it runs, you know. Alright, here's my out. Okay, so there's the cover. So like I said, if you rinse it with water, it takes the coolant right off, so it looks pretty clean now. All I did was rinse it with water. So, alright, so let's go fire this bad boy up. See if it starts and see if the motor temp works properly. Okay. Let's look at system fault B9. Motor temp still not working. It says minus 36F. So, okay, so apparently cleaning all the coolant, yeah, see minus 38F. It's no way it's minus 38 degrees, man. Let's see if the motor runs. I got it in neutral, by the way. What is that ticking sound? It's working. I don't know what that ticking sound is, but alright, well, I got it working, so I mean it works, but the thermistor doesn't work. So we have to actually see where that, I shouldn't put my fingers around there. Yeah, so I don't know, it's clean for now. What I'm gonna have to do is, yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it for a ride, and then maybe like for a few miles, and then we'll go and we'll put the cover back on, and then we'll go. One thing we could do is take the gasket out. That's what I'm thinking. Let's take this rubber gasket out, and then and just so it'll leak, you know, freely leak. It'll just leak a lot, you know, instead of like staying in here and pulling up, you know. I think that's not good. It's not good for this here, but it's still gonna get wet in there. So I don't know what to do, man. I'm kind of at a loss right now. But I was able to dry everything and clean everything up real good. So I think that's the best we can do for now. We have to find out where we're leaking from. I have a feeling we're leaking from somewhere in here. So we'll go figure it out. All right, so here we go. I mean, the bike still runs. I was not able to get the coolant, the motor temperature to work properly. It still says minus 38F, but we were able to get that all cleaned up and stuff. There might be more water trapped. I'm not supposed to touch that again. There might be more water trapped back here. That's what I'm thinking, and that might be where the thermistor is, because this is where it goes from. I thought maybe it was shorting out because that was all wet and stuff, but I guess not. There must be something wrong with it. Like it must be, yeah, there must be like water in it or something, and somewhere else. But this is as far as I dug into it. I'm sure there's more stuff going on back there, and that's probably where it's leaking from. I can see some sealant around here, this area. I'm sure there's sealant all around here. It's kind of like on there, kind of like water pump, sort of, you know. Okay. Yeah, I hate to say it, we may need some professional help for this. All right. So, all right, that's the end of today's vlog. Hopefully, pretty much the only thing we accomplished was we cleaned it up. We cleaned up all the coolant and all the rust and corrosion and stuff. And it's probably just going to start leaking again. But we'll pull the cover back off when that happens, and then we'll take a look at where the water's coming from. I thought it was coming out from here, below the encoder, but I think it's coming from here, and it's dribbling down here, and it's pulling up right here. I have a feeling it's leaking somewhere back there behind the wires, so And Haze Mega doesn't really want to dig in back there, man. Unless I can get somebody that knows what they're doing, you know, to help me out with this. Alright, Haze Mega out. Sort of a success today. Alternatively, another thing we could do is we could run the water pump. We could manually run the water pump, and then like run it for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes or something. Force it on, and then see if it visibly leaks from here while the cover is off. That's another thing we can do also. So, but anyway, for now, we just ride it. You know, hopefully this fixes itself. I turned it off. Yeah, hopefully that fixes itself. Sometimes it kind of works properly and sometimes it doesn't. So, alright, so yeah. Well, so alternatively, we could just force the water pump to stay on, and then we could see what's going on under there. But let's just ride it first, and then I'll take the cover off and we'll take a look at it. Alright.